Have you ever looked at truly wealthy individuals and, wondered, how did they actually do that? Often, it's not some huge inheritance or massive savings account. It's something else, something many of us instinctively fear. Strategic borrowing, loans. You've all heard it, right? Debt is bad. But what if? What if the world's most successful people, these financial architects, actually use debt differently, not as a burden, but maybe as a blueprint to build things? That's the audacious truth we're digging into today. We're not just defining good debt. We want to explore how it actually creates wealth. Because for most of us, the word loan immediately brings up feelings of fear, maybe shame, or just heaviness, a burden. But in this deep dive, we're going to challenge that. We want to show you how loans, if you understand them and use them strategically, can actually become a personal strength, a tool for creating wealth.
Get ready. This is going to be a bit of a fresh financial journey. It's designed to fundamentally change how you think about borrowing, about building assets. You'll get some hopefully profound insights into how some of the most financially savvy people operate.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. The common wisdom, the stuff we always hear, says all debt is basically a bad word. But is that really the whole picture? Is it that simple?
No, not at all. Not even close. In reality, there are two very different kinds of loans. And understanding this difference is absolutely fundamental. So first, you've got what we call good debt. Okay, these are the loans that actually, believe it or not, make you money. They act like a force multiplier, you see. You borrow money to get an asset or maybe a skill that directly generates more income or value than the loan itself costs you.
Okay, like what? Give us some examples.
Sure. Think about an education loan, right? One that helps you get a better job, boosts your earning potential significantly, or a business loan used to launch a profitable venture, something that creates income. Even a home loan can be good debt, but specifically if it's for an investment property. You buy it, you rent it out, the rent helps pay the loan.
Right, so it's debt tied to something that grows or earns.
Exactly. Then you have the flip side, bad debt. Now, these are the loans that just consistently empty your pockets month after month. We're talking high-interest credit card debt, those unnecessary EMIs, equated monthly installments.
Yeah, on things like a fancy new car that loses value the second you drive it off the lot.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Or high-end electronics that are outdated in a year. Or sometimes loans taken purely for show, just to keep up appearances. That's classic bad debt.
Okay, so good debt builds assets or income. Bad debt funds consumption or depreciating stuff.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But the really fundamental difference deeper down is the mindset. It's not just what they buy, but how they think about the debt itself. See, the wealthy often view debt as an investment vehicle. It's a tool, a way to unlock potential income, acquire assets that grow, whereas the less financially savvy might see debt more as a band-aid for immediate needs, maybe covering expenses. And that can lead downwards. That's the core difference in thinking, and it leads to, vastly different financial outcomes over time.
That really frames it powerfully. But, it sounds so clear when you lay it out like that. Why do you think so many people struggle with this in practice? Why fall into the bad debt trap even if they kind of get the concept? Is it just needing something now versus planning for later?
Often, yes. That's a big part of it. The pull of immediate gratification is strong. It takes discipline to think long-term strategically. But there's something else too, something crucial. Even good debt needs careful management. If you take out a business loan but don't execute the plan well, or an investment property sits empty, good debt can turn bad pretty quickly if you're not meticulous. It demands foresight, discipline.
That's a really vital point. It's not automatic. Okay, so as we dive into some specific examples now, maybe you listening can ask yourself, which category do you want to be in? Because the rest of this discussion is really about cultivating that good debt mindset and, importantly, how to wield it effectively. All right, let's paint a picture. Imagine you've got this brilliant business idea bubbling up. You're excited, but then you look at your bank account and it's, not exactly overflowing. Maybe it's empty. Should that stop you? Should lack of capital just kill that entrepreneurial dream right there?
Absolutely not. No way. In fact, a loan can be, and often is, the strategic starting point. But it's not about just grabbing any money you can get. It's about smart borrowing, thoughtful execution. First, you need a really strong, viable plan. You have to develop it. Then do your homework, thorough research, your market, potential customers, who's your competition. Know it inside out.
Okay, plan first, research second.
Right. Then and only then do you take the loan. Thoughtfully, strategically. And the crucial next step, you have to diligently use those funds to set up an income-generating system. Not just cover initial bills, but build something that brings money in.
And we've seen this work, right? There are real stories like Vikram. We heard about him. He took a business loan, was it 3 lakh?
That's right, 3 lakh.
And opened a mobile repair shop. Now, the amazing part is he's profiting 60,000 euros a month. His EMI, that fixed monthly payment on the loan, is only 7,000. He's saving the rest.
Exactly. A clear example of leveraging debt to build an income stream far greater than the cost of the debt.
Vikram's story is fantastic, really compelling. But I have to ask, it sounds almost too smooth for a brand new business. What kind of hurdles or maybe unexpected costs might someone face in that situation? Things Vikram must have navigated really well.
That's a very fair question. And you're right, it's rarely that straightforward. Vikram's story highlights the potential, but yeah, new businesses often hit bumps, unforeseen operational costs pop up, maybe getting customers takes longer than you thought, competition might be tougher. Vikram likely had a very focused business model. Maybe he found a specific niche, and he almost certainly managed his initial expenses with extreme discipline, kept costs super tight. The key thing, I think, is that he focused right from day one on building a sustainable income-generating system. Not just staying afloat, but building profit.
Okay, so discipline and focus were probably key ingredients beyond just getting the loan. Still, stories like Vikram's, they really do challenge our default thinking, don't they? It shifts debt from being just this scary burden to potentially a launch pad for real growth.
Precisely. Now let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about another pathway, one that's quietly turned thousands of people in India into what some call silent millionaires. These are folks building substantial wealth, often without a lot of flash, through strategic moves in real estate.
Real estate, the classic wealth builder.
It is. And the method, when used for this purpose, is often incredibly straightforward, proven. You take out a home loan, you use it to buy a flat, an apartment, then you rent it out, put a tenant in there, and the rental income you get, you use that strategically to cover your EMI, your loan payment, or at least a big chunk of it. Meanwhile, you let the property's value do its thing, appreciate over time.
So you're using borrowed money, leverage, to acquire an asset.
Exactly. An asset that ideally pays for itself, or mostly pays for itself, through rent.
And grows in value silently in the background.
That's the model. You're leveraging the bank's money, essentially.
Wow. The power of that is actually pretty compelling when you break it down. Let's look at Rina's example. She took a 20 lakh home loan. The property she bought generated 12,000 euro a month in rent, which, okay, might not cover the entire EMI depending on the loan terms, but it covers a significant chunk.
A very significant portion, yes. Reduces her out-of-pocket cost dramatically.
And then, the kicker. In just 5 years, that property's value jumped to 40 lakh. Think about that. She gained 20 lakh in equity, in value, without technically investing any of her own money upfront for the purchase itself, beyond maybe a down payment and fees.
That's the power of leverage in real estate. Her return on her actual cash invested is potentially huge.
Rina's story is amazing. The return is incredible. It really drives home that point. It's not always about having huge savings to start. It's the mindset, the strategy. But playing devil's advocate again, for someone thinking about this, what are the main risks? Even with good debt, like a mortgage for investment, I mean, markets go up and down, right? And aren't there maintenance costs, things breaking? What about if you can't find a tenant for a few months?
Absolutely. Great points. Real estate can be a powerful wealth builder, but it's definitely not risk-free. You're right. Market values fluctuate. Sometimes they dip. You need to be prepared for that possibility. Yeah. Properties need ongoing maintenance. Things wear out, break down. That costs money, unexpectedly sometimes. Yeah. And yes, vacancy periods are a real risk. You might have a month or even longer between tenants where you have zero rental income, but that EMI payment, it's still due.
Right. The loan doesn't take a break just because the tenant moved out.
Exactly. So successful investors, the ones who make this work consistently, they do their homework, they research the market trends, vacancy rates in the area, they factor in maintenance costs, property taxes, insurance into their calculations. They don't just look at rent versus EMI. And crucially, they usually have a buffer, an emergency fund specifically for the property to cover those unexpected costs or vacancies. It's about smart leverage, calculated risk. Not just blind optimism, hoping rents always go up and nothing ever breaks.
That's really important context. So plan for the downsides too. Okay, Rina's story beautifully shows leveraging an asset like property. But what about leveraging yourself? Yeah. Your own potential. Is there maybe an even more profitable investment someone could make? Perhaps in their future earning power. You're absolutely right. Let's shift focus now. Let's talk about what is arguably the single most profitable investment you can possibly make. And that's in your own skills, your knowledge.
Exactly. Education loans, Sometimes people shy away from them too, but they can be incredibly powerful. They empower you, an individual, to pursue courses, get certifications, maybe even degrees that lead directly to much better job opportunities, or maybe allow you to command a significantly higher income in your current field. It's truly an investment in yourself. And the dividends. They can pay out for your entire working life. It directly boosts your capacity to earn.
And we have a fantastic, really impactful example of this too, Nikhil. He took out an education loan. It was 1.5 lakh, not a colossal amount in the grand scheme. Used it to upskill, and the result? Within just 6 months of finishing his course, he landed a job with a, frankly, remarkable Euro lakh annual package at a reputable company.
Incredible return on investment there.
Isn't it? Nikhil's journey just perfectly shows the transformative power of this. Investing in yourself. What's truly astonishing, I think, is the speed of that return. 6 months. It's such a powerful reminder. The right course, the right skill, financed by a strategic loan, it can absolutely catapult you into a completely new life, a new financial reality. Does that sound like a losing proposition?
Hardly. Nikhil's transformation is undeniable proof. The ROI on investing in your own skills could be absolutely immense.
Well, always.
Like any powerful tool, there's a flip side. You have to handle it right. I often say loans are like fire. They can light your way, help you build incredible things, keep you warm. Or if you mishandle fire, it can burn everything down. Same with loans. So the question becomes, how do we handle this financial fire with the respect, the wisdom it demands? How do we use it to build, not destroy? That is the crucial caution, yes. You must wield debt wisely, responsibly. So here's some essential rules. Think of them as safety guidelines for responsible borrowing, designed specifically to build wealth, not destroy it. First rule, always ensure your total EMI payments across all loans do not exceed, say, 30% of your net salary, your take-home pay.
30% max. Okay, why that number?
It gives you breathing room. Life happens. Unexpected expenses crop up. If your EMIs are too high a percentage of your income, any little hiccup can push you into default territory. 30% provides a buffer. Second rule, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable. Always have a clear, realistic repayment plan mapped out before you sign on the dotted line. Before you take any loan, know exactly how you'll pay it back and have confidence in that plan.
Don't just hope for the best later. Plan up front.
Exactly. Third, never ever default on a loan. Seriously, don't miss payments. Defaulting severely damages your credit score. And your credit score is like your financial reputation. A bad score can block you from getting future loans when you might really need them for a house, a car, maybe another business venture. It can even affect renting an apartment sometimes. Protect that score. And finally, rule number 4, vitally important. Always maintain an emergency fund. Enough cash set aside to cover at least 3, ideally 6 months of your essential living expenses. This is your safety net if you lose your job or face a major unexpected cost. It prevents you from having to default on loans or take on bad debt in a crisis.
Okay, so keep EMIs manageable, plan repayment upfront, never default, and always have that emergency cushion.
Those are the core principles of wielding debt wisely.
So really what you're saying is it's all about disciplined financial foresight. It's not just about spotting an opportunity and jumping in with borrowed money. It's about using debt like a powerful accelerator, yes, but only if you've got the brakes, the steering wheel, the safety features all firmly under control. Use debt as a weapon for growth, maybe, but never wield it without a shield. That emergency fund, that planning, that's your shield.
That's an excellent analogy. Exactly right.
So wrapping this all up, if we had to boil down the main message from our deep dive today, it seems pretty clear. Debt itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's the mindset, the way you approach it, the purpose behind it. That's what determines the outcome.
Precisely. You've got the two mindsets, really. There's the rich mindset, the wealth-building mindset, which says, okay, with debt, I can create something. I can build an asset, generate income, grow my net worth. Then there's the other mindset, maybe the less financially savvy one, that often feels like, oh God, debt, I'm just going to drown. It's just a burden. It's just for covering expenses I can't afford.
The creation mindset versus the consumption or burden mindset.
Yes, and you really have to ask yourself, honestly, which category do you want to fall into? Which mindset do you want to cultivate? Because look, remember, some of the world's wealthiest individuals, the biggest names, think Ambani, think Elon Musk, they've used loans extensively, massively. But not for buying fancy dinners or covering daily expenses. They used it for massive wealth creation, building factories, launching rockets, generating enormous streams of income. Their empires are literally built on strategic financial leverage, using debt as a tool for growth.
That's a perspective shift, isn't it? Seeing debt not just as personal liability, but as potential business or investment capital. I really hope this deep dive has given you listening a new level of understanding, maybe even some confidence, when it comes to thinking about loans. It really isn't about fearing debt blindly, it's about changing your perspective. Understanding that financial education, knowing how these tools work, that's the real power.
And maybe it leaves you with an important question to think about. If the world's most successful people, the wealthiest individuals and companies, consistently leverage debt to build their empires, what small, smart loan could you potentially take? Not for consumption, but to invest. Maybe invest in your own growth, a new skill, or perhaps to create a small new income stream, something to build upon.
That's a great thought to leave people with. What's one strategic step you could take? If this conversation sparked something for you, share this deep dive. Share it with anyone you know who might benefit from this kind of shift in perspective about money and debt. Because really, understanding how to use money and yes, even debt strategically to your advantage, that is true power.